As a great win by our team, we 2 weeks in a row that we've played well together as a group. Weren't as good in the kicking game today. Our coverage was very average, and we could have punted better, but defense was terrific, and offense was very efficient. You're 21 of 27 for 370 yards without an interception. You average over 8 yards per snap, and you don't turn the ball over. So I believe we were +3 in turnovers. It had the ball 35 minutes, possession. We were over 50% on third down conversions, and we were 4 of 4 with touchdowns in the red zone. So whenever you are fortunate enough to have statistics like that, you're usually going to win the football game. But I was very proud of our coaching staff, all 3 phases. We had a great plan in our kicking game. Ty Leonard did a great job. We didn't execute as well on certain parts of it. Glenn Spencer, the defensive staff, did a great job, and then Yursich and the offensive staff. We had a few more negative plays than I would have liked, but going in this game, we felt like that we had to have more total shot plays, chunk plays to throw the ball down the field in case they were to get rolling on offense and score 35 or 40 points. You have to have a way to try to answer, give our players a chance to win the game. We obviously didn't need to use them all, but we were taking a few more shots than we normally would and had a couple lost yardage plays. But overall, the credit goes to the players. They've continued to work hard. They understand the journey of preparation from Sunday through Friday. They focus. They practice hard. They've got good leadership, good team chemistry. They care about each other, which in a team sport usually results in success. So as I mentioned to the team after they're in the locker room, I'm just the guy that gets to stand up and talk to them. I wish our assistants had the same opportunity to tell them how they feel after a game. But these guys put everything into it, and you can't be more proud than as a coach than when you're working with young men that are willing to do the right thing and prepare and go out and play hard on Saturdays. It's kind of a lost art in our society today, but these young men have figured it out, and we still have work ahead of us. I had a good conversation with Coach Briles on the field before the game, and gave him my honest opinion, which his guy's done an unbelievable job. His coaching staff, Phil Bennett, their players. Everybody in this league is going to have to be ready to play them from here on out. They've done a great job, so there should be a lot of credit. I had a little talk with the quarterback afterwards. I think he's a terrific player and shows great leadership, and a number of players on their team. So it was a big game. Obviously, I was proud of the fans. The last few days, when game day came on campus, this morning at whatever time they went on the air, whatever the temperature was, we had enough people out there, and it looked like it was 80 degrees. And all day there's been people wearing orange all over campus. They weren't concerned with the cold conditions. We had a sellout crowd and a record crowd on an evening where the wind chills, whatever it was, 15 degrees. So I think that says a lot about Oklahoma State, the direction of our athletic department, our football team, and the people that have supported us. And I had mentioned that last week that because of the players, we need to show up and support them. They did a great job. They were loud. They were a huge factor in this game. They were disruptive when they changed personnel, trying to get lined up and make calls. And I'm convinced that our crowd and the sound affected some of the calls they were trying to make when the clock runs down 5-6 seconds left, because that's what they've done all year. And our crowd was a factor, and our players played very well. So I can't say enough about our team. We've got a lot of work ahead of us, but very proud of what they accomplished tonight.
Mike, can you talk about Clint expound on his game? 370 yards. He hit his first 12 passes. Was this clearly his best game of the season? If so?
Well, no question. He's been good, in the last few games in what we've asked him to do. And we didn't feel like we had as much of an advantage with him running the football in this game, the way that they line up. And obviously that was true. He had 9 carries for 8 yards. But he was really effective throwing the ball. He was accurate. He made good decisions. There were times when we took some lost yardage. He held the ball instead of just firing it down the field into coverage. And so, I couldn't be more proud of what he's accomplished. And he's been a good leader, and he does it quiet. And he's been humble, and for that, he's had success.
He has been quiet, very quiet. Is there any chance of us getting to talk to him anytime soon?
After the bowl game.
Why is that, Coach?
Really, we're going to talk about that after we just beat the number 3 team in the country.
But he's had his best game of the year. He's the superstar of the
good.
Even the national people here that haven't ever been here all season were like,
ultimately, I have to make hard decisions, and those are decisions I make. I could be wrong. I shouldn't have went for 4th down on the 50-yard line. But ultimately, I make decisions, and it's my call, and I do it. It doesn't have anything to do with you guys. Trust me. I like all you guys at times.
Does the fact that Clint
What's that?
does the fact that Clint, went through what he went through last year and had success, and then comes through and goes through what he went through this year and has success, does that rally other guys? Does that, his leadership or whatever it is, whatever characteristic that is?
I think.
Guys play better, harder, more focused, whatever.
I think the team likes Clint. I think the team likes JW because they have characteristics that people are attracted to. They're unselfish, and they work hard. They show up early, and they buy into what our team concept is, so they all like them. But they like JW. And Clint just happens to be the guy that's playing very well, and that's why he's still playing. And I'm happy with the groove he's in right now. And so we just want to let him keep going.
Could you imagine in your wildest dreams hold Baylor to 17 points?
No. I felt like we had a really good game plan, but their quarterback is a really good player, and they have a lot of speed. You guys know that. I don't have to say all that. So, you put together all 3 phases of your game plan. You try to hold them to half of what they averaged. So you say, okay, can we hold them to 32 points? And if so, can we get 7 points in the kicking game? And then you have to have enough chunk plays on offense to somehow score 35 points or more versus a defense that's not giving up anywhere near that. So that's not something we anticipated. But when you play at home in front of a crowd like this and you get on a roll, sometimes that can happen. And that's the advantage of playing at home.
Was something with Kai Staley? You saw that he might be successful at fullback. He seemed like he got a lot of carries tonight, more so than this season.
Kai has been a really good player for us. You guys know that, and his health hasn't been good the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season, and it affected some of what we wanted to do on offense. And over the last month, he's gotten healthy. Each week, he's gotten a little better. And there's some advantages that we gain in our read zone package with him carrying the ball. And we felt more comfortable with him carrying the ball in our read zone package than we did with Clint tonight, just based on the look that we were getting from Baylor. And we were also trying to set formations based on where we were on the field to get number 6 out of the game for them. I can't remember, Dixon, because he makes a lot of plays for them. So many plays that we got tired of watching him making plays on tape. So we tried to formation and use running schemes to get him out of the game.
Mike, if you had the complete win file, would this game be placed in that file of yours? Can you, considering the competition and considering the time of year and considering what's at stake, is this as complete a game as you could have asked for?
We could have been better in the kicking game. Our coverage was average, and we didn't punt as well as we needed to, and that happens. So when you ask about a complete game, but when you consider offense and defense, I would consider you'd want to file that one away.
think about Councilman's fumble recovery at the 1, and then the 99-yard drive by the offense?
And we talk to our players all the time about until they cross that goal line, you don't ever give in. And that's one of those things that you try to instill in young men, and they look at you different because they're saying at times they're on the 1, they're on the 2-yard line. Percentages are they're going to score. And so you hope that you have affected them to where they'll continue to play hard. And they did down there. And obviously that's huge in the game. That and the snap, the wild snap, were 2 really big plays in the game. So you just hope that they buy in, and they do. That one area that we've been very pleased with is our players play hard. And Baylor, up to this game, has had their way with just about everybody and been very, very physical. They're physical running the football, they're physical when they catch it, and they're physical on defense. So that was one of the challenges that we gave our team on Sunday night was you can take all the X's and O's and put them in your pocket. If you're not as physical as they are or more physical, you're going to have a hard time winning this game. And that's the attitude that they took all week, and they bought in.
Mike, when you went for it, as you brought up, on early in the game, near midfield on 4th, were you doing that because you thought, got to do this because we've got to score a ton of points, or did you know your defense was going to play that well, where you go, we can do this?
I thought we had to score. And obviously it was a bad call, and that wasn't very smart on me. I kind of got caught up in the moment, and I've been doing this almost 10 years now. I should be through that, but I just, that wasn't very smart.
Isn't that the whole thing of things, a petty trip at the 1, and you hold them and get the ball back and go 99 yards, instead of Baylor going up 7-0, which, you know, who knows what would happen after that. I mean, how big in the whole scheme of things did you think that turnover?
Well, that play was big. I mean, there was a number of plays. You know, when you talk about a game that's got as many plays as we had here, they had 80-something, and we had 70-something, so 175, 180 plays. But that was a really big play. And then when Patman picked up the snap was another one, because it was almost like that let all the air out of their sails. And it was just, those were big plays.
Mike, between those 4th downs, the one that didn't work and the one that you were going to, and then a penalty, and the trick plays that you know popped, didn't that kind of help set, I don't know, an attitude for the guys? You know, an aggressive, we're going to score kind of attitude?
It does, but you know, I was going to be not very smart again, I guess, until we got that penalty. So I think there's some validity to what you're saying, that we wanted our players to feel like that we're at home in front of our guys, so we're gonna move the ball, and we needed to be better in those situations. But either way, obviously in the big picture, it worked out for us.
Mike, how much do you miss man hugs with Russell Okung?
A bunch. I really miss you playing left tackle more than I miss hugging you. There's a loyal Cowboy right there. Every time he has an open date, he shows up. And if you see anybody that looks like him out there that's recruited, you want to sign him up. Great guy right there.
I know you've been interviewing.
Are you leaving? Okay. All right. Take care. Come see us, Big Daddy.
I know you've been asked about this, but do you wonder about, you know, what if with West Virginia you'd be right in the championship race if you guys didn't lost?
Yeah, you know, it's things happen. You know, it happens with football teams. Things happen in life. One thing that we tell our players is, after a play, after a practice, after a game, there's not been anybody that's ever been able to go back and correct it or fix it. Life's about moving on and taking the next challenge. So I was as upset with myself about the West Virginia game as I'd ever been, and it was my fault because I allowed it to happen. But once it's gone, you know, that's the way it is. That's just kind of the way life is, and that's great for our players. You know, college football is the greatest teaching tool there is, with it being a team sport and how they have to relate to life, because things don't work, and we know that most of the time it doesn't work, and you gotta find a way to get it done. So we just go on down the road, but you do have thoughts about it as a coach. Hopefully the players go on and don't worry about it.
At that point, when you're coming coming back from Morgantown? I know it's a week-to-week thing and it's a process, so, you know, and you talked about the things you had to fix at that time, little by little. Did you ever think that you would be here 1 week away from playing for the Big 12 championship?
You know, you never have the luxury of thinking that far ahead. When I was on that bus to get to the airplane and then on that plane coming back from Morgantown, I felt like it was a 12-hour flight. But one thing our coaches did a good job of is we realized we had 2 days next week. And there's only a small amount you can correct in 2 days and then hope that you're good enough. I've already told you guys the story. I don't need to say it again. But you just can't do it all at once. And then you have to instill that information into players, and they have to realize that we're going to get these areas corrected and we're going to get better at this. Forget everything else. Defense has to win the game for us. Kicking game has to win the game. And then hopefully a month you guys will be good enough that we can talk about you and not just the defense in the kicking game.
Mike, earlier in the year, you had 2 byes within 3 weeks. But how important is this bye week?
Oh, I don't know anymore. I like to play every week. I think that, if you had the perfect setup, you would play 3 or 4 games and have an open week to maybe make some corrections. I think that open weeks create more issues, in my opinion, because these guys are in a routine. They're trained. This is what they do on Sunday. It's what they do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we know where they're at. We know what they're doing. And when you break the routine, we worry about that. So I don't know anymore if open weeks are good or not. I know that there's an open week and we can't change it, so that means it's good.
What's it say about last week you won a big game at Texas without Josh Stewart? This week, Justin Gilbert played, but just like
Right.
in this obvious passing situation, 6 DB, but you were able to get it done against a great offensive team.
We didn't get much from Justin, which I didn't think we would. He tried. We miss him really on special teams also. And obviously he's going to be, he got a good chance of being All-American at corner. But it says a lot about our team. Football guys get hurt. You got to play other guys. We don't like it, but somebody has to step up and make plays. And Patman has been really good for us this year. He was a great pickup and has made a lot of plays for us and in special teams and on defense. And sure, we're glad we had him tonight.
Before 2011, Oklahoma State had one conference title in 1976, dating back to the 1950s, and that was a 3-way tie. For the second time in 3 years, the Big 12 title is going through Stillwater again after tonight. What does that say about where this program is?
Well, I think it's safe to say that we've made great strides here. People see us differently than they ever have. Our recruiting's different. Our players. I think that to summarize kind of where we're at, I don't remember the last time that we went on the field that our players didn't think we would win, home or away. I don't know when that's been. When our staff took this thing over 9 years ago, our goal was to create an environment where every time we took the field on Saturday, we had a chance to win if we didn't turn it over and played fundamentally sound. Now, we all know that doesn't always happen, but if you have a chance when you step on the field, eventually you're going to create an environment where people want to be a part of it. And so I think the best way to answer that is I can't remember the last time that our team's gone on the field that they didn't think they could win. Now, we've messed it up, but they thought they could win before we stepped out there.
People have seen you differently going into this game than maybe we all did. I mean, the narrative going nationally was, what can Baylor do, and can they forge ahead to third in the BCS and all that kind of thing. And there wasn't a whole lot of talk about you guys, perhaps because of the night in Morgantown.
And deservedly so. Baylor deserved and I said this in the media in my Monday press conference, all the accolades and everything they're saying about them, they deserve it. They've I don't know what their margin of victory was, but it's a bunch. And they're still a really good football team. But we also talk about being humble after a win, and that as soon as you start thinking you're pretty good, and human nature is to listen to people tell you you're good, and then you let up, and that's when you get it the next week. I'm not saying that happened to them. I'm saying that we talk about that as a team to try to avoid that happening to us.
So if I say you're good, you're going to say what?
Well, I told the team that they're only as good as the next practice, because it's just the way it is. You know, you see it in every sport, team sports, individual sports. As soon as people start thinking they're pretty good, they don't prepare. And being focused in college football is one of the most important areas there are. There's a lot of distractions. You have to focus on the only thing that matters, and that's the next meeting, the next practice. So, you guys good? Yes, I did. And I'm sore in my hip flexor area because I'm still sore from Texas.
About the defense and just how you guys stopped them 3 times on 4th down in the 3rd quarter, and then obviously turned it around with that fumble recovery.
We could sit here and talk about our defense for 30 more minutes, but the difference with this team versus over the last few years is when the ball's thrown in the air, they go up with 2 hands and they catch it. They don't tip it. We're tighter to coverage at times. Late in the game, in the latter part of the 3rd quarter and the 4th quarter, we were off. But when you're ahead by 4 touchdowns, the head coach tells them to play off and tackle them. And statistically, it doesn't look good, but I don't care. The clock's running. And the last thing is that they've gotten closer, and they don't miss as many tackles as what we have over the last few years, like tonight, because this team can make you miss a lot of tackles, and they've done a better job with that.
I'm sure you haven't seen the Castleman play up close because you weren't watching on television or had replay or anything, but basically the kid was trying to just one-arm the ball to the goal line. Castleman just standing there and just basically swats down and everything. So, pretty savvy kid, or pretty athletic kid, or pretty heads-up kid?
Well, all three. He's very intelligent. He's very athletic, and smart, and he's savvy. And what happens is we talk to our players all the time. Josh Stewart does this, where they do that with the ball, and I'm guessing Baylor probably coaches the same way. It drives us crazy because 1 yard's not worth, the risk reward there's not very good. So I did not see that. I just saw the ball come out. Good? Okay. Thank you.